Hey everybody, it's Christina Quick, the Tarot Biz Mentor. And I have a little sneak peek of my next Lenormand deck that I want to share with you. And this is going to be a deck that's a lot different than a lot of the decks you've probably seen. So when I was thinking about creating this deck, I was thinking about what I would have liked to have when I was a beginner, when I was just starting out learning Lenormand. And the things that stuck out most to me were, one, I wish the symbolism was a lot more to the point. I wish the symbolism was, because I used to get like really overwhelmed by all of the stuff in the pictures. I started out especially with one of a more artistic sort of Lenormand decks. And what I found was that I got really overwhelmed by the symbolism, and then my intuitive brain would want to go off and I'd want to start reading all the symbols around it. And Lenormand is one of those systems that it's very, very simple. And that's why people like Lenormand, because it is simple. And so that was one thing I wanted to kind of work into my next deck. The next thing I really wanted to work in was a lot of keywords and a lot of key sentences. And not just one or two, but that, really kind of talk about a lot of different ways that this card can show up. So I knew I wanted to do keywords. Kind of like how I did the Lucky Lenormand deck that I have, that you see that I did all of the little 1 hour videos I did with the 36 card intro and then the writer combinations. So I knew that I wanted to put keywords on it, and then I knew that I wanted to put some type of sentencing on it to kind of help you guys. And so when I was thinking about making this deck, I was really thinking about a learner's deck, but also a deck that could be easily used on the psychic hotlines, because I've told you guys about all the decks that I like that have words on them, and how using them on the psychic hotlines is really awesome because you don't have to think too hard. You can kind of do a little bit of bibliomancy with it, and it's just a lot easier, especially when you're doing 20, 30 readings a day, right? And then I decided, I kind of want to take this to the next level, and I want to create flashcards. So I was like, how am I going to do that? So I want to show you how I managed to put this deck together and why I think this is going to be groundbreaking when it comes to, learning Lenormand, especially for beginners, and using Lenormand on the psychic hotlines. So I just got my deck in, and as you can see, it's a beautiful purple color. It's the color of my branding. And it has, on the deck, you can see that it has very simple images of what these things are, what all the symbols are, right? So it's very simplistic in that way. The next thing you'll notice is that it has different key phrases on it. So for example, a writer, news is on the way, an important announcement, a package is arriving, a visitor will come by, messages through a third party, someone new entering one's life, okay? So that's a lot, that will really help you guys with the readings. And I really like how it looks. I like the simplistic view of it, and I like that there's a lot of key phrases on there to help you guys out. So I think that's going to make it really interesting for you. Now, this is how I took it a step further. You turn the deck around, and it's a different deck. And so it's a different color. And instead of the key phrases on it, it has just the numbers, and it has the name, and it has the key words. So it's a deck that will grow with you, meaning that if you're just learning, maybe you use the sides that have the key phrases on them, or if you get stuck or something. When you want to graduate to the next level, just simply turn the deck around, and you have a deck that is still simplistic but has the keywords on it. And so I figured, let's do a quick reading with it really quickly so I can show you guys how to use it. So this is the first time I'm going to shuffle it. And by the way, if you don't want to get the cards mixed up, this is how I do it. I just cut it in half so that it's like this, and then I'll just shuffle it that way. And that's how you don't get reversals, by the way. But it doesn't really matter if you shuffle it any other way. You can turn the cards the way you want them to. Okay, I'm going to cut it in half. And let's do a simple 3-card spread. Okay. I just love those colors. Okay, so the first card is Crossroad. And Crossroad represents choices, options, and being in an impasse, going in 2 different directions. And then Heart is love, desire, passion. And Mice is thievery, stress, and worry. So if this was a general reading for someone, and you're just doing a general 3-card spread, you might say something along the lines of, there are maybe some competing passions that the person is kind of playing around with. It could be competing relationships. It could be competing job offers. It could be competing business ventures that they want to look into. And the card on the right-hand side, the future, is Mice. So it talks about stress and worry. So it talks about this is something that's kind of gnawing at their heart. These multiple directions here are kind of gnawing at this person's heart, right? But let's say if I was sitting here, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what this means, right? I'd say, I don't know how Crossroad represents. I don't know what Crossroad means in this reading. So if I got stuck, I could simply turn it over. And I could say a fork in one's path, a decision is required to move forward, multiple scenarios or choices, a delay, impasse, or stalemate, feeling hesitant to commit, or going separate ways. Going separate ways is more of a future-oriented meaning for that. But in the past meaning, it's going to say, a fork in the path, right? Multiple choices ahead to move forward. Heart represents following one's heart. It could be a romantic person in their life. It could be also a very passionate situation. So this fact that this person has multiple paths in their lives is it's a very passionate thing for them, right? It's a very big deal. And decisions based on emotions. So maybe you could tell your client that, are you making decisions based on emotions or logic? Can we find a healthy balance in between those? Generosity, kindness, and charity, an emotional situation or person. So you could say, I see this as a very emotional situation for you, you know? And then the last card, Mice, stress, anxiety, worry. I see you've been feeling a lot of stress and anxiety and worry about this. Thievery, or being stolen from, financial burden caused by others. You know, if I was seeing this and it was a career reading, I would say, what is it that what job or application are you putting forth that, what are you doing for other people rather than doing for yourself, right? Is there a job that makes more logical sense, but you're going to hate yourself for it? Maybe it's okay to follow your heart on this decision. Okay. So it's a pretty great little deck here, and I'm curious what you guys think about it. Let me know, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.